Hi friends, I am back in Fort Collins, one of the hottest and fourth most populous cities in Colorado. If you're thinking about moving here, I've got 5 things you need to know before taking the plunge. So let's get going.
First things first though, before we do dive into these great things about Fort Collins with Elena, guys, if you are looking for some real estate here in the Denver metro area, or I guess today specifically Fort Collins, give us a call or text that phone number right below right there. We always answer, it doesn't matter date or time.
And if you're not ready to pull the trigger and give us a call, no worries. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time that we put out a new video. And for now, we will take it away with Elena.
First up, Fort Collins has an incredible downtown area. The Old Town Historic District is a gem. There's 1800s houses, a vintage trolley, and this beautiful mix between nature and history. So I find myself in Old Town Square quite a bit actually, and for a few reasons. Number one is there's blooming flowers everywhere. They've got pots and everything. Everything is just so beautiful. Also, it's home to several of my favorite places. So just to give you an idea, Hydrate IV, where I get my monthly hydration. I go to Velvet Files sometimes for a mani-pedi, and there's this incredible new shop on the corner right next to where the splash pad is in Old Town. It's called Explorado Market, that's it. And they've got this really cool, I don't even know, specialty sodas, and then there's a bunch of really delicious pastries, and the vibe in there is incredible. They've got this wall of really cool plant cuttings and things like that. So Old Town is just adorable, and I love being down there because people are out walking around all of the time, and it's just so beautiful and fun. Now, some of your ears pricked up when I said 1800 homes. I'm sure it did, because I am a giant fan of them, and I know so many of you are too. If you want to see some of those homes, you've got to take a ride down Mountain Avenue. Mountain Avenue is one of my favorite streets, and I actually have a client who's looking at moving there sometime in the future, and he's just waiting on that special moment. That's how special of a road this is, because there's freshly renovated new homes all the way down to the 1800s homes. We'll give you some drive-by so that you can see them, but it's also attached to City Park, which happens to be where I'm at right now, an incredible part of the city. And New Belgium does this incredible event every year called Tour de Fat. Now, Tour de Fat is essentially sorry, there's a squirrel right there, it scared me. Tour de Fat is essentially a giant costume bicycle parade, and then at New Belgium afterwards is this massive after party that's just super fun. Everybody dresses up and it's just a great time, and Mountain Avenue is on that route, so you can get your bicycle out and take part in that. They estimated over 20,000 people joined this year. It's in August, and so this year was just another spectacular turnout and incredible opportunity to see the beautiful neighborhoods that we have here. Number 2, this is the college town. Fort Collins is home to Colorado State University, the second largest university in Colorado. So you're gonna see a lot of college students out and about, especially near campus. Just this year, they enrolled over 33,000 students. So it's a pretty big college town. You're gonna have, the typical college parties in the neighborhoods around campus. But one thing I did want to mention is that it's not necessarily overrun. It doesn't feel as if there's just college students everywhere. And the party scene out here, while totally different than my 15, 20 years ago when I was here, I didn't go to CSU, but I remember coming up this way and partying with some of the college students.
We're new neighbors?
We're your new neighbors!
I'm Teddy.
In fact, funny story, they used to turn on different colored porch lights to indicate if they were having a party or not. And so we'd essentially just party hop from one house to the next as long as they had their little red light on. It was hilarious. I'm not really sure if they still do that nowadays, but it definitely had the opportunity to get a little bit wild. I'm sure that sort of thing still happens here, but like I was saying earlier, it's not as if you feel like there's just loads and loads of college kids everywhere. If you go out for a date night, go to the restaurants, even hit some of the popular bars here, it doesn't feel as if you're just surrounded. So don't let that deter you if that's not really your scene, especially because Fort Collins is so big. So all the way over here in City Park, up next to the foothills that you can see back there, and Horsetooth, which is right on the other side of those foothills, down into the stretches closer to Loveland, out towards the highway where things are being built up. There's such an expansive amount of space here in the city that I'm sure you'll be able to find something, a little spice to what you're looking for, that doesn't necessarily have to do with CSU or the college part of this town. Number 3, we're all about recreation up here. So Fort Collins is home to so many parks, and I think it's like 280 miles worth of trails. You've got Horsetooth Reservoir, like I was just talking about, and hiking. Laurie State Park is attached to Horsetooth Reservoir, where I have to say one of my favorite hikes up in northern Colorado is called Arthur's Rock. And if you get up to the top, you can actually overlook the entire span of Horsetooth Reservoir, which, by the way, is like 9 miles across. So it's a really incredible view, and you've got to get up there to check it out. One last piece to the recreation here in Fort Collins that I love to talk about is the river that runs through town. There are opportunities all along a bunch of different access points throughout the city to jump in with your tube and essentially just float down. There's also a whitewater park area, so if you've got a kayak and kind of want to go a little bit more extreme, it's a really fun opportunity to try your skills and get out there on the river. There's also areas all over the place where you can just kind of sit back on some of the rocks and sunbathe and people watch. And of course, that's another fun thing to do. This recreation talk leads perfectly into number 4, which is location. Fort Collins is perfectly situated for so many things. It's incredible. If you want to take advantage of all of that local recreation, there's a ton here, like we just talked about. But there's a bunch of really awesome opportunities to jump on I-25, head up to Wyoming to Glendo. It's one of my favorite places to go camping. There's a whole sandy beach area up there that a lot of us love to go and camp out, do the whole lake life thing. Another lake that's really easy to get to from here is Boyd Lake down in Loveland. The waters are a little bit more shallow, so that means warmer water, which is great for like the early spring, late fall sort of time frame if you still want to get out in the water and play. Another really awesome thing that's come into town this year actually is in Windsor. There is in the rain dance community, they are turning this slope into a ski resort and tubing hill. So you'll literally have the opportunity to ski right here in town, and Windsor is only maybe 25-30 minute drive away to get to rain dance in particular. So that's another really exciting thing with proximity to Fort Collins. City life and activities, nightlife, that sort of thing you can find it here. But if you're more into the bigger city type of lifestyle, down in Denver and the bigger cities, just keep in mind Fort Collins is probably a good hour to hour and a half away from there, depending of course on weather and the traffic and things. We are working on I-25 is in the middle of a seemingly endless construction project. There's an expansion going on, and we're really excited about that because hopefully hopefully that will take away some of those strains when it comes to traffic. But they're widening things from Meade all the way up to Fort Collins. So in the next couple of years, I'm sure that'll be fantastic. But right now, you're dealing with a lot of construction too. So keep that in mind. Also, when that comes to DIA. So Denver International Airport's probably also about an hour and a half away, depending upon which way you take. We've got access to E470, which is our toll road. And if you map it out, you head south on I-25 till you hit E470. And from that stretch all the way out to DIA, you're going to probably spend about $10 on your toll bill. I have to tell you, that is probably the fastest and easiest way, the least stressful way to get to the airport from Fort Collins, because trust me, you do not want to go down I-25 to I-70 and over, because like I've been saying, traffic is a nightmare. All right, last up is number 5, and that is housing. The number one thing that you need to know about housing in Fort Collins is that it is all over the place, right? But the median sales price is at $550,000. And interestingly enough, in comparison to Denver, it has outsold Denver by just a little bit. Their median sales price hits right around $544,000. One thing to think about when you're looking at and talking about median sales prices is we're lumping in condos and townhomes and small residential multifamily with single family homes and everything in between. So it's just a really good snapshot if you're comparing different locations. But when it comes to thinking about the kind of home or price point you're trying to get into, there's a wide variety of different options. You've got condos and things like that right around CSU's campus. For instance, great opportunities to purchase those as an investment and rent to college kids. Or you have the incredibly beautiful, massive homes that overlook Horsetooth, or some of those bungalows and 1800 homes that we showed you driving down Mountain Avenue, all the way out to the outskirts of Fort Collins, where there's new construction a little bit more often, and the different bungalows and the different sizes. You're going to get price points all over the place, so don't worry about that. We have a lot to offer here in Fort Collins and a lot of variety. Now, the last thing I wanted to point out about housing is we are still technically in a seller's market because inventory is so low. It's hard to find a home in Fort Collins in comparison to other areas across the country, because we're just needing a lot more people to sell their homes. It's hard to do right now because interest rates have climbed. Sellers don't want to sell out of their lower priced mortgages. But the good news, and the thing that's great for buyers, is the sellers that are selling, it's a little bit easier for buyers to get into. So before, a couple years ago, even just a year ago, we were dealing with multiple offer situations, which really drive those prices up. And right now, houses are sitting a little bit longer, and buyers have the opportunity to ask sellers for concessions up front, or maybe they go through the inspection process and they want to ask the seller for a couple of repairs. Those things are actually happening now, where they weren't necessarily happening a year, 2 years ago when everything was super, super hot. That's about it right now that you need to know about the housing here in Fort Collins. I do think this is a really fantastic time to buy because, like I said, you're going to be getting into housing with sellers that are willing to work with you a little bit more. And then you can take advantage of the appreciation that we year over year see. It's very consistent, beautiful appreciation here for our housing. So take advantage of those appreciations. Find the home that's right for you. And then if you need to, you can refi out of a higher interest rate into a lower one once things kind of settle down a little bit more. So that wraps up your 5 things you need to know about Fort Collins, Colorado. If you want to learn anything else about any of the surrounding areas, be sure to get in touch with us. We love answering your questions. We love taking video for you. So I'm your local realtor, boots on the ground here in Northern Colorado. So get in touch, and I hope to see you soon. Until next time, bye. That's this section. The highway, I-25, is on a seemingly just this year, 2023, they enrolled over Squirrels are gonna attack me.